It is Matt from Music Producer School, and I'm here with you today from my home studio. Hope y'all are doing well. We are going to be continuing with our Let's Make a Song series today, and we are up to part 10. If you're just joining us, be sure to go back either on our YouTube page or our Facebook page, and you can find all of the previous videos for this series there. I've been taking y'all step by step right from the very beginning, from the song idea all the way up to the final product. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Today we're going to be covering, let me actually put these links in here. If anybody's just joining us for the first time, I'm going to put all the links to all of the different social media stuff in the Facebook comments here on the Facebook video. So if you're trying to find us on YouTube, Twitch, all that good stuff, you can find us at those links that are in the Facebook comments. So let's go ahead and bounce over to Ableton here. There we are. Okay, so we left off last time. We were comping vocals. And again, if you're just joining us, what comping vocals means is essentially I had these 4 vocal takes and we went through phrase by phrase, and you can see here where I pulled all of the best takes from. So take 4 we had a good bit of stuff from. Take 3 we had a good bit of stuff from. We had a couple from take 2, and it looks like a few from take 1. So if you missed that process, the last video I did, I gave an overview. The first time I tried doing the comping, we had a little technical issue and you weren't able to hear what I was hearing. So I went over and did it again on the last class on Saturday. So if you missed how to do any of that, or if anybody has any questions on how to do that, feel free to drop me a comment or send me a DM, preferably to the Facebook page. And I basically showed y'all how I went through, and you essentially listen to all of these different takes next to each other, phrase by phrase, and we pick out the best takes. So now that we've got that taken care of, I'm going to now do a file save live set as, and we're going to go ahead and call this 10.1. As always, we can get back to where we started. If something happens, we can just go back a session or two and figure out where we are. So now that I've done that, I'm going to group all these vocals right here, and I'm going to just call it vocal takes, and we're going to turn that off. And that way I don't really have to be distracted with that. So let's take a listen. I haven't listened to this since we comped it, so let's see kind of what we got going on here, and then I'll take you through the process of what we're going to do today.
One more day, feels like you threw my heart away. One more chance, you let a good love slip through your hands. Ain't it sad when the tears start coming, falling down like rain? It's like a sickness, you broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain. And all I can do is, all I can do is, all I can do is dance. All I can do is, all I can do is, all I can do is dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, cool. So far sounds pretty decent, but there's definitely some things that need a little bit of work. So again, I'm going to kind of just take this step by step. We're going to start from the very beginning. Now, the first thing to point out is I have my grid set to quarter notes. I may be flipping between quarter notes and eighth notes. And what that's going to do is when we're looking for this timing. So essentially what we're going to do today is I'm going to try and do some of the timing. Depending on how long that takes, I may go ahead and tune the vocal also today and show y'all how to do that. So let's kind of dig in here and see what we got going here. Let me see. Let me see what Meat Slim is posting on our stream here. And like I said, I'm gonna basically do the timing stuff today rhythmically. This looks like a post that we don't need, but thanks for the spam, Slim. All right, so we're going to look at the timing on this.
One more day.
And just like we did with the comp, I'm going to be looking for each phrase at a time.
One more day.
Let's see if we can maybe scoot this up just a little bit.
One more day.
Because what I'm looking for here is one more day. I know that day is supposed to be on the upbeat, and this is the 8th note upbeat of beat 4 right here. This is beat, so just quickly, this is beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4. So I know that the phrase starts on 1, 2, 3, one more day. So I want to start that day right on the upbeat right there, and that looks like it's pretty good right there.
One more day.
Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just put some quick little fade ins and fade outs on these phrases, so that way we don't have any funkiness going on in the beginning of anything. Let's check the next phrase.
Feels like you threw my heart away.
Same thing, kind of scoot this up just a tad. Another thing is, again, I have it on my 8th note grid, so you can kind of see where there's notes with a little bit of a transient right here. This right here, you can see it was a little bit behind the bar there, so I just scooted up just a little bit closer to get it a little bit more on top the beat. And then let's make sure we're not losing anything there.
Feels like you threw my heart away.
Good. All right, let's keep it moving. And again, you want to be careful of, like right there, I had this clip right here, and that's just from when we were doing the comp. I was dragging and copying down. You want to be mindful of this stuff. I'm gonna increase the volume here. This stuff here in the beginning, those are breaths, and we don't want to lose all of our breaths. Okay? So you want to make sure that you're getting all that stuff. We may decide later to take it out, but we don't want to just eliminate it right off the bat. So let's be sure to be mindful of that.
One more chance. One more chance.
Same thing here. I'm going to see if I can maybe scoot this up a little bit. Let's go a little bit too far and see what it sounds like.
One more chance.
I'm going to back it up and listen to the previous phrase.
Feels like you threw my heart away. One more chance.
See, these are these little things that you might not think about, especially for beginner producers, but when you're not locked into the groove, especially vocally, because right now, we may change it later, but all I have going on right now is this piano with a pad and the vocal. So the vocal is actually providing the rhythm and kind of the sense of tempo and timing. So if it's not nice and locked in tight, the something's going to seem a little weird to our listener. So another thing I wanted to point out here is you can also turn on in situations like this where we don't have any rhythmic stuff going on right now. You can turn on your metronome. Or if you don't like using the metronome, you could actually, below the track here, you could just put in like a little hi-hat beat or something like that. And that way you have a very solid timing reference to listen to. So let's try that out and see what it sounds like.
Feels like you threw my heart away. One more chance.
Yeah, you see, I'm really liking that. If I move it back to where it was, which is a little behind the beat, dragging, let's listen now.
Feels like you threw my heart away. One more chance.
You hear how now that we have the metronome in there, you can really hear how that vocal was late, right? So I'm definitely gonna be checking this stuff with the metronome. And now that I just turned it on, let's listen to our first phrase too.
One more day.
See, that one even seems like it could go just a tad up now.
One more day.
Yeah. So that's a super key tip right there. If you're checking your timings of your vocals and you don't have any rhythmic elements, go ahead and throw on your metronome or put in something with a solid quarter note so that way you can hear the vocal against a solid beat, and that way your vocal's not going to sound weird. It won't be very apparent to the listener, but they'll feel like something's a little off. So big tip there.
Feels like you threw my heart away. One more chance. Let a good love slip.
Yeah, right here, it's sounding like we're just a little bit behind. So for this one, for example, I'm looking right here and I'm seeing how much behind that is right there. And I'm just kind of going to move that to get it a little bit more on the grid.
Let a good love slip through your hands. Ain't it sad?
I'm going to back it up just a little.
Let a good love slip through your hands.
This one, I'm not super keen on the move right there, so I'm going to, I think, leave it where it was.
Let a good love slip through.
Because we had the good, you can see this is my G right here of good. That's where the actual G is happening, right there. That's the beginning of it. So that one's pretty much on the beat already, so I'm not going to move this one.
Let a good love slip through your hands.
So right here, we need to make sure we're getting both of our phrases in here, which we are, it looks like now.
Let a good love slip through your hands.
So this seems like it could be scooted back just a little bit. Let's check that.
Let a good love slip through your hands. Ain't it sad when...
Yeah, that sounds cool. Now this right here, we had done where I have this S, and I want to try and make sure I'm getting this S properly with this hands. So this might be a little tricky. Let's see.
Love slip through your hands. Ain't it sad when...
Yeah, so we got a little bit of funkiness going on there. Let's see if we can bring this fade back a little bit.
Ain't it sad?
That sounded a little better.
Let a good love slip through your hands. Ain't it sad when... Let a good love slip through your hands. Ain't it sad when...
Yeah, I can live with that.
Through your hands. Ain't it sad?
Now it also sounds like this vocal is a little bit behind as well, so we may have to address that. So again, I'm kind of looking at wherever there's these gaps. You see right there where the word starts, right here where that hard transient is, that's a little bit of a gap. Right here we have a little bit of a gap. Here we have a little bit of a gap. So everything here seems to be a little bit behind. So let's see. So for this, for example, if I was to move that like that and get it right on the grid there, let's see what that sounds like.
Love slip through your hands. Ain't it sad when the tears start coming, falling down like rain?
So I'm going to put a little clip there. I'm going to cut it there, and I'm going to scoot this second part of this phrase back a little bit. So right here, for example, when you clip vocals like this, I moved the vocal, right? I moved it from here just over a little bit earlier, but then I'm going to peel back this breath right here. So that way we get the original breath and everything's going to sound a little more natural that way. So let's listen to this now.
Love slip through your hands, stand inside when the tears start coming, falling down like rain.
Yeah, so you hear when I did that move, that fall, the F is hitting a little bit nicer on that beat. So I'm going to put a little crossfade here, just so we don't have any clicks. And I think this should be good.
Through your hands, stand inside when the tears start coming.
Now this right here even, I feel like could be scooted up just a little bit because you see how much behind we are right there. So let's try and just cheat it over just a little bit and then put our crossfade in. And then since we cut here, we're going to have a cut here. Do a little crossfade. Let's see what that sounds like.
Your hands, stand inside when the tears start coming.
All right, so now since we're digging in a little bit, let's back it up and listen in context with the rest.
Feels like you threw my heart away. One more chance. Let a good love slip through your hands. Stand inside when the tears start coming, falling down like rain.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. This Ain't It Sad seems like it's a little bit on top of the beat now. So I want to just scoot it ever so slightly back, just a little bit. And then we're going to have to redo our fade here. And again, it's important to listen in context because, you know, you start working super deep in these vocals and you're going to just get buried in it and you're not going to realize, like, you may be putting certain things right on the beat, but then in the previous take vocal or in a previous section, it was a little bit laid back. You have to listen super closely to this.
One more day. Feels like you threw my heart away. One more chance. Let a good love slip through your hands. Stand inside when the tears start coming, falling down like rain. Let a good love slip through your hands. Stand inside when the tears start coming, falling down like rain. Let a good love slip through your hands. Stand inside when the tears.
See, I'm feeling like it's a little bit on top of the beat now. So maybe we need to move it a little bit further back in time. Let's try just a little bit like that. And it may seem very minor, you know, these changes that I'm making, but I'm listening for the feel of this thing, for the timing.
Feels like you threw my heart away. One more chance. Let a good love slip through your hands. Stand inside when the tears start coming, falling down like rain.
All right, cool. I like that. So now I'm going to, again, you see these little bits of breaths here. I want to try and get good natural places for those to preserve them.
Falling down like rain. It's like a sickness. You broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain.
Okay, so this kind was definitely behind. So let's try and cheat that up a little bit. Get my little crossfade in there. Crossfade him out. All right, let's check it again.
It's like a sickness. You broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain.
Seems like kind could come back even just a little bit more. Let's try that.
Falling down like rain. It's like a sickness. You broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain. And
Yep, and then and is also behind. So again, this is my beat. So right here is where the upbeat starts, and you can see how much behind it is on the upbeat. So let's scoot that in a little bit. And again, this stuff seems very minor. It's not very apparent, especially if you weren't checking it with the metronome.
it's like a sickness. You broke me with a quickness, a
right, let's check one more time there on the and. All right, so this all I know for sure is way late here because the all is supposed to be starting on the upbeat, which is that. So you can see how far behind it is. Now this was because the way I was punching in on this phrase. So what I knew kind of in my mind was it was a little bit hard for me to catch it on the pass like that. So what I'm ultimately probably going to do is find the best all, and I'm going to grab it from another section over, like later on. Because in other words, if you're a vocalist, the very first phrase might be a little hard to catch the groove. But then since I'm repeating it later, I'm in the groove when I'm singing it. And I just figured I'm probably going to be better that way, just taking one that's in the groove. So let's see what we got here again. So the can do is sounds like it's okay because that's starting on the upbeat right there. So I actually, again, I'm looking at these transients right here. You see how much space I have? So I'm kind of looking at that to bring it a little bit closer to the bar. And now the ka is right on top the beat right there. And then for this, for example, let's bring it in close to there. And then you can see, again, that's the upbeat right there. So let's see how much we can get away with here. I don't think we're going to be able to do a whole lot. So the all should be starting there. Now, one interesting thing we could do here is I can get it nice and tight there. And then in Ableton 10 now, I'm able to actually turn my grid off. And then if I hold the shift key, I'm actually able to stretch this right here in the arrangement, which is pretty cool. That's actually the first time I'm doing it with Ableton. So let's see what that sounds like. So that's not exactly the way I want it. Let's take a look at this word. So here's another little trick for you. If I start it on, let's say beat 3, and then let's go like this, and I'm gonna just loop this whole section. So actually we could probably bring this back to here. So let's bring this here and just loop. Okay, so the do is cool. Let's see if we peeled this out like this. I don't think that's right. So here's another little tip for you, okay? I'm gonna bring all this back to where it was, because this could get a little messy, right? So what I need to see is what is the timing that I'm supposed to be doing here. So let's go into our vocal takes. And I think all of these, okay, so on my demo vocal up here, let me bring it down here toward the comp so we can look at both. So this is a way that if you're kind of squirrely on what is the timing supposed to be, I'm going to cut it right up here on the phrase. And now you see how I'm using this demo vocal to kind of reference where the lyric was supposed to be happening. So I'm able to kind of just using that see, oh, okay, I can kind of see where the can was supposed to be. You see how this part right here, I'm matching with this part right here. I'll bring that up in size a little bit. It'll be a little easier to see for you. So you see how I'm basically just looking at that when I'm stretching this bottom vocal. And I'm saying, okay, let me match the timing here. So let's see. That looks like it may actually work. Yeah, that actually worked pretty good. Sweet. So I'm going to use that. Now, I may not wind up using that for the final good lead vocal take, but at least now we have something we can work with. And that's pretty sweet that we can do that in Ableton like that. All right, so again, I'm putting my crossfades in here, just making sure everybody's nice and tight. No pops or clicks going on between these vocals. Okay. So yeah, if you're ever kind of trying to do this stuff, so this is what I would call the the timing portion of your vocal editing. So we're working on these timings, and if for some reason, you just don't, you're not getting anywhere, find a previous vocal that you did. It could be just like I used the demo vocal that we originally had. The difference between the demo vocal and the other takes, as you can see here, I basically punched in on the build section here on all these takes, whereas the original demo vocal, and you'll find this often where the original demo vocal, the feel of it is kind of good, because when I was singing it, I was just kind of doing it freely. I sang through the whole song, so I wasn't punching, like doing hard punches on sections. So just the flow of it tends to be a little bit better sometimes as far as how the whole vocal fits together. So I'm using that demo vocal once again as my timing reference to get this this All I Can Do straight up right there. So let's back it up a little bit. Let's get rid of our vocal previous takes, since I think we got a handle on that now, and let's take a listen.
Witness a brand new kind of day, and all I can do is.
All right, we're up to our next All I Can Do. Let's take a look one more time at our demo vocal. And you can see here it came in a little bit earlier, so let's scoot this over like this. And again, I'm noticing just on these bars right here how I'm just a little bit behind. Not a big deal, but I'm thinking I can cheat it over just a little bit, make it a little bit more on the beat and just a little bit tighter with the instrumental here. Yeah, I think so far that's pretty good, actually. That's my eighth note right there, starting right there. Gonna go in here, get some nice little crossfades in so we're not getting any pops or clicks. Got our crossfade there. Get a crossfade there going. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. All right, sweet. Let's keep it moving here. We got our crossfades everywhere. Got our breath in there. Yeah, now this one looks like I did it a little bit better, so let's check this one now. Yeah, I was starting to get kind of in the groove at this point. Try and preserve a little bit more of this dance on the end here, but I think actually the rest of that, and that makes sense because as you're recording this toward the end of the section, the vocalist, and in this case it was me, I'm gonna get more and more in the groove as I'm repeating this phrase, right? So that makes sense that toward the end we might not have as much work to do here. So let's back up and listen one more time, and I think we might be there. So another thing, now because this is kind of like a house dance type thing, it's very common to repeat words and phrases and stuff like that. So I'm not as concerned on this type of a song if I was going to use, like, you know, actually copy and paste a word over and over again, because that's kind of normal for this genre. And what I'm talking about here is I'm noticing that this All I Can Do, I think, is the best one right here. Let's listen to that yellow one more time. Yeah, there's just something about that all that I really like there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop it, and I'm actually going to I'm not going to get rid of my take so that way I can keep track of stuff. But I'm just going to put an asterisk, a few asterisks by this one, so that way I remember later on that this is the one that I really, really like. Because it seems like I could probably use that one for all of the All I Can Do ones. It just, tonally, it sounds really good to me. The pitch sounds good. And I think that may be the one that I wind up copying and pasting for all of these. But we'll see. So let's listen one more time to this. All right, I'm just going to get my little end crossfade there. And I think that's going to be it. So let's go ahead now one last time and listen to this from the beginning now. And I'm going to take the metronome out. And let's see what we got, just to be sure. And let me go ahead and hide all these vocal takes since we don't need them.
One more day, feels like you threw my heart away. One more chance, you let a good love slip through your hands. Stand inside when
all right, I'm hearing a little something funky right there on that hands again.
slip through your hands.
Okay, somehow we got from I think from cutting something earlier, we got a little cut there that we weren't supposed to have. So that's no problem. We'll just peel back, but I knew I heard that. We're going to peel back, do our little crossfade here, and let's check it in solo again.
Through your hands, stand inside through your hands, stand inside.
All right, cool. Always important to go back and check your work because you're bound to miss something. So I'm glad I caught that. Let's check it one more time from the top.
One more day, feels like you threw my heart away. One more chance, you let a good love slip through your hands. Stand inside when the tears start coming, falling down like rain. It's like a sickness, you broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain. And all I can do is that.
Okay, this first all I can do is sounds something's going on with that.
Quickness, a brand new kind of pain. And all I can do is.
Okay, so what might be happening here, I think, is I'm not hearing a breath.
All I can do is.
So what we may wind up doing on this is actually splitting the verse and the chorus. I mean, it's a build, but this is also going to be the chorus vocal. So what I'm going to do here now, since I'm kind of hearing this now, is I'm going to duplicate this track. I'm going to call this, let's just call this LVOX V comp. It's for verse. And then we'll call this LVOX CH for chorus comp. And what I'm going to do is actually get rid of all this stuff here. And then we're going to get rid of all this stuff here. So now we're splitting. And again, this is kind of the work as you go method. You know, don't leave all this stuff to the end and, oh, I'm just going to fix it in the mix. You know what I mean? That's just going to be a huge pain. So I'm going to finish off this vocal here. And this way I can get a little bit of overlap and I can get this breath on this vocal. Because ultimately I wanted to split this vocal into another track anyway, because we're going to definitely be treating the chorus vocal differently than the verse, talking about the way I'm going to mix it and whatnot. So let's see if that helps any.
Brand new kind of pain, and all I can do is
Yeah, it's a very subtle thing there, but getting that breath in there like that, and what I'll probably wind up doing on this is going in here and actually increasing the volume of this breath a good bit.
and all I can do is
Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about that at this stage, but there's something about letting this vocal come in naturally like that, where it's just not as abrupt like it was before.
kind of pain, and all I can do is
Now the other thing we can do here is my "and" can probably be scooted back just a little bit like that to make it a little bit easier for this chorus to come in and not feel like it's right on top. Let's try that.
brand new kind of pain, and all I can do is
Yeah, I think that was cool.
broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain, and all I can do is
Back it up a little bit more.
it's like a sickness. You broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain, and all I can do is
Yeah, easier to tell with the metronome. So again, that's a super helpful trick there with that metronome thing.
and all I can do is all I can do is all I can do is dance. All I can do is all I can do is all I can do is dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and there's little things like for this dance, for example,
Dance. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not hearing much of a C. So this is where, again, I may go in and actually bump that up a whole lot.
I can do is dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Probably not that much, but...
I can do is dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And what's happening there is I'm getting that breath included in this, which I don't need. Zoom in a little bit more here. Bring it down just a little bit, but I just wanted to show you all that quick trick where you can actually go in and emphasize certain consonants and stuff, breaths, stuff like that.
Do is all I can do is dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You hear how now we can hear that C in there.
Do is all I can do is dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we'll dig into that type of stuff where it's more fine tuning. Those are like the super nitty-gritty details. But yeah, let's listen to this one final time with the metronome, and I think that's going to be it for today, you guys.
One more day. Feels like you threw my heart away. One more chance. You let a good love slip through your hands. Ain't it sad when the tears start coming, falling down like rain? It's like a sickness. You broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain. And all I can do is
I feel like this broke me with a quickness is a little bit slow.
it's like a sickness. You broke me with a quickness, a brand new.
I'm going to cheat it up just ever so slightly.
Coming, falling down like rain. It's like a sickness. You broke me with a quickness, a brand new kind of pain. And all I can do is, all I can do is, all I can do is dance. All I can do is, all I can do is, all I can do is dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, sweet. Okay, I think that's going to be all for now. I hope that was helpful. I know this part is super tedious. Believe me, this is not my favorite. My favorite thing to do when it comes to making music is editing. But I will say this: when I got to work with some of the quote unquote big boys over the years, that was the thing that struck me. There was a group of guys in Nashville that I learned how to do a lot of this stuff from, and then also, like I've mentioned previously, when I lived in California. Hey, Naveen, this is Ableton Live, Ableton. Um, it's very tedious process, but when I saw these guys that I learned how to do this stuff doing it, I was like, oh, that's why these vocals sound so good on the radio. That's why they sound so good on these records, because you're literally meticulously going over every single word and making sure everything sounds perfect. Now, of course, there's vocalists out there that are just going to kill it every single time, every single take. But the reality is, I would say about 95% of vocals that you hear on the radio, on records, probably even more than 95%, honestly, are edited just like this. So it's a very tedious process. It's not super fun to do. But what is super fun is when you get all of this done. It's kind of like if any of you have ever remixed before and you just get to download a super cool acapella from one of your favorite producers, and it's like the vocal just works. It doesn't even matter where you put it, in the arrangement. It just always sounds good. And that's what we're trying to do. Get all of these individual pieces that sound really good on their own, and then that way when we get to the arrangement part of this process, it's a lot more fun because we're not having to stop and like, oh, that vocal's out of tune, the pitch is bad, oh, the timing's bad on this, I got to stop and move it. I like to do all of this stuff first. This is kind of the cleanup work, I guess you could say. And then once we get past this, we're going to start having a lot more fun working on the arrangement. So I hope that was helpful. I will be seeing y'all again on Thursday, and we will knock the rest of this vocal out. I'm going to show y'all how to tune this vocal the right way, not just slapping auto-tune on there real quick like everybody else does. We're going to do it the right way, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to start having a little more fun with this song very soon. All right, I'll see y'all next time. Appreciate it. Y'all have a great day.